That was the time that I decided to, before going to the sand dune, to hike this small hill. And when I start hiking, I've started watching a bunch of inscriptions here, and this one was the first one that I found. I don't know if it is Hebrew or not, but it is definitely not Arabic. And this inscription is very similar to the inscription that we can see in Sinai. Hi everyone, my name is Lukas Mora and I'm part of the Discovered Media team, and today I'm here with Andrew Jones, the leader of Discovered Media. And yesterday we arrived here at the desert to explore the Exodus route, the route that the Israelites took before Sinai and after Sinai. So yesterday night we decided to camp right there. And this morning I wake up and we start doing some footages with drones and everything, and I wanted to hike a sand dune here. And while I was walking in the direction of the sand dune, I decided to pray God to find some inscription, because after all I'm here and I know that it is not everyone that has the opportunity to be here. And I was praying God to find something as an inscription. So that was the time that I decided to, before going to the sand dune, to hike this small hill. And when I start hiking, I've started watching a bunch of inscriptions here, and this one was the first one that I found. I don't know if it is Hebrew or not, but it is definitely not Arabic. And this inscription is very similar to the inscription that we can see in Sinai. Before we present possible explanations for these inscriptions, it is important to say that these discoveries were made on an ancient corridor called Butena, and in the same area you can find multiple inscriptions and rock art that were made in different historical periods. We also believe that it is very possible that the Israelites traveled in this corridor during their journey to the Promised Land. In this first inscription, most of the letters were very similar to the Proto-Sinaitic letters, and in fact, most of them were exactly the same. There was one specific letter that called for my attention. As soon as I saw this letter, I associated with the head of a cow due to the similarity with it. And there is only one letter that is directly associated with the head of a cow, and that letter is the Aleph. In my opinion, it will make a lot of sense if this specific inscription was in fact Proto-Sinaitic, especially because of the geographical location, which is very close to the biblical Mount Sinai, and that will also explain why these inscriptions have Proto-Sinaitic letters. Although, after talking with some other people, we got two more different opinions. The first was that the inscription was roughly Talmudic C, but some of the letter shapes were also found in the Taymanite alphabet. According to the first researcher, the letter that I mentioned that had the potential to be an Aleph is not an Aleph, but instead it could be a Taymanite G. Something that I would like to mention is that when compared with the Taymanite G, this letter seems to have a unique shape and not just the shape of a regular rectangle like we can see on the G. Talmudic is the name that refers to ancient Arabic Talmudic tribe language found by the 19th century scholars for large numbers of inscriptions in ancient North Arabian alphabets, which have not yet been properly studied. The Talmudic family was divided into 5 different divisions: A, B, C, D, and E, due to the big variety of letter variations and style that was found all across Arabia. And some of these letter variations have a lot of similarities with the Proto-Sinaitic alphabet, especially when you consider the Proto-Sinaitic as the oldest alphabet in the world. The second opinion was that the inscriptions were specifically Thaimanitic, which in my opinion it is still very interesting. For those who don't know, Thaimanitic is formally called Timurik A, and it is clear that Thaimanitic script expressed a distinct linguistic variety that is not Arabic and not closely related to the Ismailic or Safavidic, while it can be suggested by some that it was more closely related to the Northwest Semitic. After this amazing discovery, I realized that just behind this inscription there was a big amount of other inscriptions, rock art and petroglyphs, but from all the new ones, the one that was most clear was a second inscription in a big boulder. In the first sight, I thought that this second inscription was from the same historical period of the first one, but after some study, I came to the conclusion that this might not be entirely true, as they don't have almost any letter in common, and also because some of the letters have a different style. Other thing that I need to mention is that there's a lot of art in that area that is clearly from different periods. But of course, I could be wrong about this, as I'm just an explorer. I'm not a scholar or a professional in this field, so we are still waiting for a professional analysis over these two inscriptions. Our goal in this video is not to give an interpretation to the inscriptions, but instead only to show and document our discoveries. Also, before anyone attack our video, I want to say that I'm not going to use my prayer as an argument to support the idea that the inscriptions are related with the Hebrews. I just decided to share this part of the story to show how good is our God and how fast He replied to my prayer. After that, we also found two other very interesting petroglyphs at the same area. The first one was two warriors with a shield and a sword. And one thing that is very interesting is that these two warriors have their shields and swords in opposite positions, and that could mean that this was depicting a scene of a duel or even a battle. The second interesting petroglyph was a camel and its rider, and in the same rock there was what seems to be a letter. I believe that this camel and the rider could support even more the idea that this area was a commercial route, as we were in a very important corridor used by merchants. After that day, we decided to move and camp in the plain in front of Mount Sinai. By the next morning, we started working and filming some videos about the Exodus and the Israelites, and to be able to get good clips for the video, we decided to hike a rock formation in the middle of the plain. While we were walking to a different spot, we found some new red painting art very similar to what Joel Richardson found at the base of Jebel Makla.
Wow, Lucas, so what another crazy day. So while we were coming down off these rocks here, filming the plane, you rounded the corner, and what did you see?
I saw these red painting figures. We can see a bow and an arrow very clear. We can see a person here with some type of clothes. And then in Andrew's side, we can see more people. You can talk a little bit about that
yeah, these are actually bulls right here. They have funny horns like this way, skinny head. But you can see their feet and then their body right here. There's like two bulls here, another figure here, and even this guy with a looked like a bow and arrow or something, very similar to the other one.
And we can see some other figures here that we can't see so clearly like the other ones.
This one has marks that's kind of going up and down, but I don't know, like waves. That's very interesting.
And here,
another bull right here.
Other person here. This is full of red painting symbols.
This is amazing. We don't know what they mean, but we've scanned it, taken photos, and we'll just document this because in Saudi, they say the red painted ones are the most rare because usually if they're exposed, they don't last too long. And as you can see, we're in this overhang, so they're not exposed to the weather, and so they've lasted all these years. So
and these ones are very similar to what Joel Richardson found in the base of the mountain. Joel Richardson found some red painting archers again when we found here again another spot.
So we don't know what it all means, but we definitely have documented it, and we'll include this in our video. In 2018, while on a month-long filming and exploration trip, my videographer and I were exploring the possible exit routes off of the plain where the Israelites would have encamped in front of Mount Sinai. One day, while driving through an area on the eastern side of the plain, we came across some stone piles beside the rough dirt road. I had in fact prayed earlier that day for God to show me some inscriptions. I didn't ask that the inscriptions be from the Israelites or anything, just that I could find some inscriptions on the plain. Maybe I should have been more specific, but God did answer that prayer, and scattered among the rock piles were 3 stones with different ancient symbols carved on them. I was so excited to document these inscriptions you are now seeing on the screen. Later, I was able to contact 3 different scholars about these inscriptions. 2 scholars gave me 2 different translations. According to one expert, these are Hismaic inscriptions that cover Jordan and northwest Saudi Arabia. Though no firm date range has been established for this script, it used to be called Thamudic E. One inscription mentions a few personal names that are Nabatean-type names, and mentions that 2 people set up a cult stone. We are so excited to document again this site last month, and include it in this video of the different types of inscriptions and rock art found around Mount Sinai.